Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Brandon Romano,
Casey Sizemore,
and Any City Music, and today we're going to debut for you the first episode of our new show, Double Vision.
Double Vision is really Any City Music's approach moving forward. It's kind of where we want to grow, evolve, if you will, and figure out exactly what our platform is and how we relate within the local music scene, art scene, and how we want to portray that as a media entity. So this is one way moving forward. We recently, for episode 1, caught up with the HorrorCosmic, which is a new band that's kind of making waves in the local music scene. We caught them at Macklemore's, and I actually didn't get to see the show, but they were at Libraries Rock. There was Star Avenue, which if you don't know who that is, you need to hop over to Star Avenue on Facebook. HorrorCosmic, check these people out, a lot of this local music scene. Well, without further ado, this is HorrorCosmic and a Dark and Lonesome Road. So what's up? That was the HorrorCosmic with A Dark and Lonesome Road. So why don't you tell me a little bit, Mr. about how people can find the HorrorCosmic.
Well, we've got a Facebook page, so that's probably the easiest way to keep track of what we're doing. But we also have a YouTube channel, and we're going to keep adding more and more stuff to it as time goes on. So be good to get on now. So we're going to have some really cool stuff in store for the next year or two.
Awesome. Well, that's from the vocalist and I assume rhythm guitarist, is what we're going to say. Primary songwriter, do I have that correct?
Yeah, I write all the songs. They write their parts mainly, but yeah, I mean, I kind of bring the skeleton of it, and they put all meat on it.
Okay, cool. So kind of embellish a little bit from what you bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was Johnny Ray. Over here on the end, we have lead guitarist Harry Duncan. Yeah, I got that right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do?
I'm from Nacogdoches.
Okay.
Yeah, I serve coffee at Java Jack's, and I play guitar with these guys.
So you got the life, you know, coffee, guitar, you know.
Sure.
So may I hear those sick licks coming out? So how long have you been playing?
Oh, since I was 13.
Since you were 13. All right. So who do you listen to? Who you currently listen to? That's more interesting of a question.
The band Tortoise.
Tortoise.
I don't know the names of any of the musicians in the band, but they're great. Do instrumental, electronic sometimes, pretty wide range of sounds, and it's all really pretty.
Really pretty. It is pretty and wide range of sounds. That the dynamics you use when you're trying to approach what you're gonna.
I just look at the space I'm given and try to make it be the most it can be.
Okay. All right. And over here we got drums. We got Sir Joseph Williams. Tell me a little bit about yourself, sir.
I'm an adventure seeker. Just kidding. I'm really not. Yeah, so I was walking down the street one day and I heard these guys playing just two guitars. And I went up to the window and started slapping my belly. And I took my shirt off and started slapping my belly like it was a drum set. And they were like, "This guy's got rhythm."
Yeah, it was incredible. You know, I'd never really seen anything quite like it.
Belly slap.
Yeah.
So up to
We
their
call it
window
hand
to
boning.
apartment or what?
What's that?
Apartment, house, what? Like you walk up to a window.
It was at a show. It was.
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
it was at a show.
Was at church.
Yeah, it was at church.
Yes,
Worshiping.
I like it.
And the whole congregation just loved it. They, everyone was patting my belly by the end of it.
Yeah.
It was like a ham boning orchestra,
Oh
you
man,
know, or something, kind of.
I'm still sore. I mean, I've got marks to prove it. Red belly.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little about yourself. Zachary McNeely on bass over here.
Yeah, I am from Needville, Texas, very small town south of Houston, and work at Dolly's Diner. That's a plug-in for Dolly's Diner downtown,
Hey.
Nacogdoches. Yeah.
Get that omelet.
Johnny works there part-time. That's how he found me, for the most part. Just asked me if I, played bass. He actually asked me if I played bass. I said yes. He's like, "How well do you play bass?" And I was like, "I play bass. I play bass. I can do that for you."
Man, you're laying out them sick lines, so you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So, kind of, where do you, what kind of music you listening to? Who are you listening to?
Currently, I can't stop listening to Gojira at the moment. I'm more heavy at the, Tool. Yeah, I can actually kind of very Modest Mouse. I like a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I said
Yeah.
rock. Yeah, very interesting band, especially in their earlier years. I skipped you, Mr. Williams, on the who are you currently listening to? Sorry, Joseph.
I've been listening to Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. Yeah, just got that album.
Mhm.
Curtis Mayfield, a little bit of D'Angelo, like some R&B, and just your basic baby making music, and Marvin Gaye. That's about it. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so when it all started kind of coming together, I guess let's put it this way: where did the HorrorCosmic find its roots?
Well, so I guess it sort of came. I started thinking about this idea. How long has it been now? At least a year ago. I would say a little over a year ago. And I started writing songs, and I've been a songwriter and musician for a long time now, and I've never really gotten too much traction with anything that I've done. And one of the reasons, I don't know. Basically, long story short, I decided that I was being too eclectic, and I needed something thematically to link everything together, so it could be a cohesive thing. And so I had started reading some H.P. Lovecraft at some point, and really enjoyed it a lot. And I like fantasy stuff and all this kind of stuff a lot of literary things I'm into, and philosophy and history. But so anyway, I just became a big fan of that, and I so that's where the name comes from, and sort of the idea. we don't always. I mean, it's still fairly eclectic, and I'd like to keep it that way. But yeah, it's just really all it was. And I just decided, look, if this thing needs a name, I need a project to work on, so I have something to hang everything on and make it cohesive, you know. And so it was fairly arbitrary, really. At the end of the day, I just settled on a name and decided to, and an idea, and I've just been slowly crafting, using it as a benchmark to craft the songs too. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. So, when you start your music approach, kind of, what do you start from?
So what I usually do is so my songwriting process is fairly simple, I guess. What I do is I have a mic at home and a laptop, and I open up my recording program and I just record, and then I do my very best to make a song come out. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Weirdly enough, I basically either get a whole song or I don't get anything usable. And so if I don't get anything usable, I scrap it. If it sounds vaguely like a complete song, I keep it and save it. And then what I do is I reteach myself all the chords and all the changes, and then I rewrite the lyrics. So a lot of times I'll just say nonsense things, lines that just don't make sense, or I'll make up words, or just kind of go, la la la, that kind of thing.
Build the melody up.
Yeah, I'm more focused on the melody and the skeleton of the song, and then I go back and rewrite everything, and that's basically it. And usually after 2 or 3 drafts, I'm pleased with it, and I just keep it, and then I bring it to the band. So that's kind of the process, and then so it starts there, and then I play it for them a couple of times and just see what they do. And most of the time I like it. Sometimes I think it doesn't match, and I'll nudge them in a different direction. But yeah, it's been fairly easy, I think. Play together pretty well.
So bringing it into the drums, and you playing those beastie drums that you're sounding really good. How do you relate that to his songs? Is there like an approach that you have, or do you just?
No. Well, to be actually serious for once in this interview thus far, the first time I heard them was at Millard's. Is it Millard's Crossing?
Yeah. At Pine Knot.
Pine Knot, yeah, really, really cool show. But it was in kind of an old church, so the acoustics were really wild. It sounded great, and I actually got there late, which I apologize for. But afterwards, told him I wanted to play drums because I heard. It sounded great with just Harry and Johnny playing, but I heard the full band in that, and heard the drums kind of not really specifically what I would do, but I just kind of like a cadence and almost a rhythm, more of a groove, really. Didn't know what I was gonna do, but we played around for a long time, just messing around with a couple songs, just playing them different ways and different beats and stuff like that. And I think that's an important part of it. You just finally get a flow after a while.
Well, and those first few weeks that we played together, and we've only been together for what? How long?
Like 2 months, yeah.
We played
Like February, so
Yeah, February was the Boss Light show,
it's
right?
like the 4th month we've been doing this, I guess.
Yeah, but even and with them, it's
Come
been
a
3
long
months.
way in such a short time.
Yeah. So at the beginning, I just threw song after song because I have a ton of songs. I have just like dozens of songs, and so what I did was I ran through as many songs as I could throw at them to see what they did with them, and then I just picked which ones I thought sounded kind of the most natural for what they were doing, and so.
So is that the approach? You bring it to them, the three of them collectively, and then they kind of decide amongst themselves how to match you?
Yeah. Well, we do a combination. We actually have done both. At the beginning, that's what I did. But the last couple weeks, or last few weeks, I guess, of rehearsals, we've been rehearsing kind of separately. And so it's been a little bit like a Stanley Kubrick movie in that, a lot of times in his movies, the people didn't know the lines of the other actors. And so they'd be in a scene and not know the context for it. And so for a couple of the songs that we've been working on, we've sort of tried that approach, and then we just bring it together at a rehearsal right before, and then we play the show. We did that with a few of the songs, a few of the newer songs.
Cool. Yeah, I seem to remember that at Macklemore's. I don't recall the song title, forgive me, but that y'all bringing up that this was the first time that the band collectively had
played
that.
it. Yeah, I think it was Sepulchre Door. It's one of our new ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because, nobody had heard each other's parts.
No.
It was really strange. It was cool, though. It still sounded cohesive.
So how's all that work, keeping your timing together and stuff like that?
Well, and the main thing is that I try to be as rehearsed as I can before I bring the song to anybody. Like basically, I try to be as much of a metronome as possible so that it's consistent every time, so that they don't need to hear each other. They just know what the rhythm guitar part is. You know what I mean? And that tends to help.
Yeah, it really, I mean, it's the lead man, but also the glue, because honestly, earlier you stepped away and we were doing like a mic check. We started, I can't remember what song we were playing, but
Out of mine, but
yeah.
just didn't really all fit together without,
Well, we didn't have the
drive.
Yeah, we were waiting for out of mic.
Where is it?
Yeah, you know, it's the cues thing is really important because I think that our music has a theatrical, sort of cinematic quality to it. I've been told that a bunch of times by people, and I think I get it, you know. And so cues are really important, you know. It's like stage directions.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes I say this or sometimes I say that. For live shows, I also have certain things that I'll say. You know, like if I say mercy, that means our tempo's dragging and we need to move forward and stuff like that. So.
Little inside look right there.
I thought that meant slow down.
Oh, well.
That's
that
what
explains
it.
it.
What's time?
Mercy.
Okay, so what's your approach when you try to lay down a bass line? What are you thinking?
Stay out of the way as much as possible. Pretty much. I mean, you know, you fill in what needs to be filled in, but really just, you know, make sure it all gels together. That's pretty much about it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as they're recording, those low ends are really low.
Yeah.
And so is that an atmosphere you're trying to go for, or do you... Well, so I guess, is it more like, are you going for... What kind of style is it that you want to be portrayed as?
I think a few times I've actually tried to, like, just a couple songs where I've tried to do something like funky, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll play it and Johnny will be like, oh, no. I mean, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, let's go. Let's just follow you here for a bit. But and then it gets dialed down. I mean, it fits, and that's where it's trying to go.
So how long have you been playing?
I mean, really casually for about 7 years until, like, just, you know, I have a bass at home, and so I'm just kind of like, okay, let me learn how to play Iron Man. Let me learn how to play some Tool songs and stuff like that. And then you know, just kind of took that into here.
So is this your first musical endeavor?
You know, you kind of had some, like, high school bands that you kind of mess around with, but no, nothing like this. First time jumping on stage, basically.
Awesome. Well, like I said, we caught y'all a few weeks back at Mac, and I was floored. I talked about y'all. I went to work talking about y'all. Like, dude, there's this group of artists. And I'm not trying to just blow smoke. I mean, it was just phenomenal. There's nothing
y'all stood out from the rest of the crowd, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is that intentional?
The being different like that, like sort of shooting for uniqueness. First of all, thanks. I really appreciate that. That's very nice. But as far as that goes, not really. No, I mean, it's just a matter of, I think I just have really weird taste in things, and I think that just comes out in the writing. You know, I mean, there's all these weird influences. I love obscure philosophical texts and history and just like weird short stories and stuff like that. And I don't know. There's a point where I guess it just comes together, and I'm what I've tried to do is pull from as many different sources as I can, and so when it's all added together, it turns into something a little bit weird and different, you know. But it wasn't really that intentional, like going out of my way to do something weird, you know. If anything, to be honest, you know, I had sort of a thing against writing catchy stuff at one point for like years, and I just wouldn't write anything catchy. I always tried to write really complex harmonies and these emotional songs and stuff. They were very cathartic for me to write. They're more artistic in a way. But then I finally dropped that because I got bored of it, because I started thinking, well, as an audience member, I want to hear something catchy. I like catchy music, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I started to sort of draw back some of that stuff. And so this project is sort of the result of reaching way out with like weird lyrics and weird things and chord progressions, and then kind of drawing it back in and trying to make it a little more accessible to people.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So, Harry, when you come in and you bring in the guitars, because as a guitarist myself, one thing that I notice about your playing is, one, you're really smooth.
Thank you.
You come in when it's right. You're subtle when it's right. You're not though you are a very dominant presence in the music. You're not alpha, as in like there's no alpha. Is what I'm observing. So you come in when it's right. So what's your approach to writing? I guess these leads, because dude, those leads are sick.
I think Johnny's chord progressions are really lyrical, and he provides pretty much the same kind of texture, and I just have to like embellish it only just a little and like, you know, pick out certain notes from the chords. Otherwise it'd be like kind of redundant. So there's already like, he's got the foundation of what I'm working with, and then it's just like what's possible within those limitations.
Okay.
That's really it.
Okay, so drawing it back, you came in later. Were you already there?
No, it was.
He
Johnny
played
and-
one show
Yeah.
before me.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
show
but no, yeah, it was Johnny.
So
and
it
Harry
really started out
originally.
with you two.
For a good while. Yeah.
Yeah, and
like almost
honestly,
a year.
I didn't think we would ever have any other members. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty. I'm not. I don't want to say I'm not ambitious, but I'm not. You know, I just didn't expect it to actually turn into a full band, basically. And so I didn't plan for it. So I thought we were just going to be kind of a duo playing for extra money.
Just guitar and vocals.
Just guitar and vocals, and then we would just work together until, I don't know, we were playing around shows and stuff, and then I don't remember exactly what was the impetus to want to add people. I don't remember.
I heard that y'all were looking for a drummer.
Because I put a thing out at one
So,
point.
I
I was
don't
just like,
remember.
no, this should be a full band.
Yeah.
I think it's what it was is we had been playing together a little while, and it just had turned out so well. I was like, this deserves like a full treatment, you know? Yeah.
I think we talked about it from the get-go, yeah, as a goal.
And then, you know, the point where I was slapping my belly, that just was the cherry on top.
That was when I knew we had to
All
do
right,
it.
we
But
gotta
that's
get
the
a drum.
guy.
It's
Right.
evolved well.
And they brought me,
Definitely.
they got me a drum set, and taught me how to play drums.
Destiny.
No,
So
no,
did you
no,
go
it's-
any-
So
none of
you
that's
weren't a
true.
drummer
It's
before
actually-
this?
No, that's not true either.
Oh, all right.
I wasn't much of a drummer. I feel like I've improved a lot in the last, while we've been playing the last couple months. But I've been practicing a lot more. I had a drum set probably 4 years ago, but played
So was this the main the first production that you were a part of then
Yeah.
as a drummer?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So you two both came, the bass and the drums kind of came in fresh with everyone. All right.
So bringing in the lows all at one time.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was an intense change. It changed a lot of the songs too. Like some of the chord progressions ended up being different. I cut parts out, added parts. Like in Out of Mind, one of the songs that we played, you know, the chorus part where my guitar comes out, I don't play during the chorus, you know. That came because I realized there was too much guitar, and we needed to utilize the fact that there's four of us making sound to kind of add some dynamics and stuff like that. And as we move forward, I can't wait to play with that even more. You know, we're still so new. It's you know, a lot of directions we could go in.
So speaking of Out of Mind, let's move into that segue. And here it is.
1, 2, 3. Well, I was out of my mind, running out of time. I began to pay all the way I came. I began to decay. Things got what I made. What a price to pay. Well, I was out of my mind, running out of time. The words began to rise, but they were not mine. Well, I was out of my mind. It's such a glory, and the glory is one riding the throne in the Lord. The whole of me was in the dark, I was hungry with insatiable hunger. Impossible to live in this world, impossible. Sent from ancient lands, a cursed, nameless dance. Oh, so eldritch, hands leading, non-Euclidean ground. Well, I was out of my mind. I took the silver swine, but I'm out of the past, and the smell of
so now we're back with the HorrorCosmic again, and as you just heard, Out of Mind. Now you've heard The Dark and Lonesome Road and Out of Mind once again. Tell me a little bit about where we blowing bubbles?
Oh yeah.
Pass it around.
Those are fun stuff.
Those are my bubbles.
Hey,
Pass it
hey,
around.
I don't know.
That's
That's
around
around
like
bubbles.
a bubble pipe. All right. Two-hitter quitter. man.
Bubblicious. I don't know if anybody's heard this. Any of y'all know the song by, I think it's called Major Lazer? Is the guy? There's a song called Bubble Butt.
No.
Am I the only
Get
one?
that in.
I
It
think
sounds
so.
intriguing.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Why
I'm just
don't you
gonna get.
describe it a little bit?
I'm just-
2008. Get out of here.
I'm not sure if it's appropriate. To,
Music
Hey,
was
anything
directly
is
there.
appropriate on this show.
it's much more bubblicious. I will say that than just blowing a few
I haven't
bubbles.
seen
There's a
it.
lot of bubbles in that,
music
and that's in that music video. It's just a bizarre
Bubble, bubble,
song and video.
Stupid ass song.
By
Yeah,
bubblicious, do they mean booty, bubble butt?
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we'll
great.
start with
It's
the
so
kind of a little bit oddly coming in a different segue. I meant to get this on the previous segue. What was the premise of Dark and Lonesome Road?
I don't remember exactly. That was one of the, if not the first one I wrote for the HorrorCosmic. I had other songs that I had written kind of as my solo side thing, but I brought that one in specifically for the thematic tone I wanted to hit, that I mentioned earlier. And I don't know exactly what the impetus was. I just wanted to write sort of a ghost story, I guess, and then it slowly evolved more and more from there. Yeah. I mean, it's so for me, there's a sort of theme that is in all my writing, actually, that is about the struggle between light and dark, right? So it's kind of like your whole life you're trying to figure out more and more things and learn more and more about the world, and to me that's the light. There's always all the metaphors, right? I mean, just historically, it's a consistent metaphor for knowledge and learning and all that. I mean, Plato even, the sun he compares the sun to the good and the true. It's all like tied together. Anyway, so that's sort of a thing that's throughout all of my writing. And so Dark and Lonesome Road is kind of like talking about where we are as human beings. We really have a long way to go before we've illuminated very, very much. And so we're kind of on a dark and lonesome road, hurtling through space alone.
Okay.
But the idea is to keep trying to make that light brighter and brighter. So it's a lot of the songs have a darkness to them, or like a sort of like gothiness almost. But really, and I'm not sure how well this comes across, since I'm so in my own head about it, most of the time. But the point is that it's meant to be optimistic, actually. That as dark as things are, you just keep rolling right along and stoically continue to try to make things better. So.
All right, so kind of moving right along now into this segue. Out of Mind. What's the premise there?
Well, that one was just because I like to play Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop games and stuff. I know Zach does too. He enjoys some D&D. We never played together though. We should do that sometime.
Yep.
But anyway,
I'll join in if y'all need a third.
do you like that too?
I've never played. I always thought it would be a cool thing to get into.
It's real fun. I love it, and I love that it's blowing up. By the way, I think it's perfect timing.
It's made a comeback.
It really has. People, I mean, I cannot tell you how many people I've played with that you just would not expect to like be into D&D or anything. It's really has blown up. So that song is sort of like my attempt to write a little ghost story that is like influenced by crazy stuff like a wizard summoning a demon or something and then having to fight it off or whatever. So it's kind of like a fun way. I'm trying to mix sort of like a Roadhouse country blues sound with like these weird esoteric fantasy subjects. I guess that's kind of like what the niche we're trying to hit. If there's a market for it, I don't know.
So, message per song when you sit down, is it usually always like real world oriented, whether it be like, for lack of better terms, a product like D&D, or philosophical? Where do you kind of land on that per song? Like when you sit down, I know you can't just say that across the board, but generally speaking.
So this is going to sound weird and it's going to probably sound like I'm making something up, but I swear I'm not. What I'll do is, like I said, when I write a song, I just write an entire song. I just sit down and hit record, and either it comes out usable or not. But what I do in the background is, even though I make the lyrics up as I go along and the melody and everything, I sort of tell my subconscious, and I'll just sit for about a minute or 2 minutes, and I'll think about, well, I want to write a song about this, and I'll just kind of think about it for a couple minutes, and then I'll hit record and play, and then usually it's in the direction I want, and then I just recraft everything from there. So sometimes I miss the mark wildly, and I just can't get the lyrics to sync up and rhyme, because I even try to rhyme and write the lyrics as I'm playing the song. It's all very improvisational, you know, and so yeah, I just feel like, well, I want to write a song about this, and then I'll just kind of like try to do it, you know. And I have topics that I still want to do a song about that I haven't yet, you know, and things like that. It's almost like I make lists. I have like a notebook, and I have just like tons and tons of lists, or I'll ask myself questions. I also just like to just ask a philosophic question, right? Like what is justice, right? You know, or something like that. And then I have a whole bunch of these, right? Like I have like dozens and dozens of them, pages of them. And then when I feel like writing something, I'll just sit down, pick one, and then I'll just try to make it happen, you know.
Okay. So, given that you generally have this idea about the song, there's a certain level of a message and feeling that you want to present. When the band comes in, do y'all maintain? Do y'all look to? Is that a conversation like, hey, this is the feeling I want, and then so y'all kind of come in and try to match that, or is it like, hey, this is what I feel, and you add your own?
Well, I would say I feel like me and Johnny have run into that problem before. Like, especially starting off drumming more professionally, like, I just wanted to take it the way I'm more comfortable with, just because that's what I was comfortable with playing drums. But Johnny's kind of told me, and I've seen the outlook of the actual song, how it should sound as a finished product, rather than just playing around and adding drums in, like, just randomly. So. Yeah, I feel like it is a little bit of us bringing something to the table, but at the same time keeping that original vision that was there in the first hand. Like you said, like it wasn't something that you probably thought drums and bass would have been a part of, and all these other instruments we've talked about getting. You know, we're talking about random instruments. The more, the merrier. You know, just building it up from somewhere, but it's always going to be that type of balance of what someone's bringing to the table, and then also originally what's written. I mean, you have to make sure that feeling as well as the message comes through. So yeah, that's where we're at. I feel like it's been good.
Same question, kind of how do you relate that here?
I don't think we've ever exchanged words about what emotional layer should be to what I'm playing, but I think it comes across non-verbally and just happens that way.
Yeah, it's weird. Me and Harry just kind of like, you know, we started and it's just like has worked.
Or I hear him talk so much about what it's about that maybe I just get it already.
Yeah.
You knew from the get-go whether you knew it or not, you know, or aware of it or not.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
You know, like, about, I'll come in with something. I'll play something like Dark and Lonesome Road. Like, I pretty much made up when I come in, pretty much made that up.
Yeah, bass part, yeah.
And then, you know, then another section is Johnny actually saying, this is what we're going to play here, here, here. Same thing for her, and I think Out of Mind, maybe, too, was pretty much just all Johnny for the most part. So, yeah, I make sure that I'm just making sure exactly what to do, what I'm supposed to do for the most part. But I think it's like half and half for the most part. I've come up with something, and it fits, whatever, but then at that some point, I mean, sometimes the half and half in each individual song for the most part.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of songs where it's like half of it is just your parts that you came up with, and half of it's my stuff that I was like, hey, this would sound cool here, you know, and we just kind of work it out till it's cohesive. You know, it's the important thing. It has nothing to do with any of us individually. I mean, even me as the principal songwriter, it's not about me. It's about the song. So the song needs to be able to, you know, live on its own and do its own thing and have its own life. You know what I mean? And so everything we do is trying to make the song sound. You know, it's kind of like what I like to do is I'll just think to myself, if I was listening to a record, what I mean is, does this sound like it would be on a record? You know, like, does it sound like what it would sound like on a record? And that's the main thing. Is I just see myself as quality control, really, at the end of the day. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. It's just.
I remember when I was driving with you, though, it was like every now and then I'll think about how like each individual song fits the HorrorCosmic, and then in Deep Blue, which is the other song. In Deep Blue, I'm thinking it kind of sounds like something for somebody else, but when you fit into the HorrorCosmic, I'm thinking of like Cthulhu and Deep Blue.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of, it might be something for somebody else, but projectively for me, it's like Deep Blue. Cthulhu lives in the water. You know, it fits HorrorCosmic.
Y'all pardon my little kids. Thud Prince. Back off in inside.
There's a
that.
Oh, that's
family
right.
in there.
I was wondering what was going on, though. I was like, clunk, 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 clunk. What is
Yeah,
that?
It's the life of a
see
family,
Mother
man.
come
You,
home.
you do things when you can. There's a reason we're on the back porch.
Yep.
That's a joke, mostly because of the ambient light. But all right. So I understand that y'all are in the process of recording.
Yeah, we're working with a friend of ours on something, and we'll probably do more other recording too. I mean, basically, we're hoping to have something out, at least a few songs out that people can buy, you know, either at our merch table or from our Facebook or whatever, you know. And we'll have a website soon. Basically, this has all happened a lot faster and blown up a lot more than I thought it would. So it's kind of like I'm scrambling to get everything professionally done as possible and get all these things out, you know. But yeah, over the next couple months, there will be an EP, a website, out of town shows, you know, just the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. So, when you're going into the recording studio, are y'all going into it with the same mindset as you go like live on stage, or is there much more like a refined, or is there a difference?
Well, we haven't done it like we were talking about earlier, layering tracks. I feel like that would be a whole different ball game right now. But the only recording we've done to this point has been just one take. Hopefully, it sounds good.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of built our comfortability with just playing with each other and just chemistry, really. You know, we've figured out exactly like how each song's supposed to sound, give and take a little bit. But yeah, I feel like layering tracks in a recording studio would be something different too. But
And I've had some experience with it.
yeah,
I think some people like it, but it's not my favorite part of playing music. I'm very much a live guy. I like improvising. I like little differences. I even like that there are mistakes sometimes. Some of my favorite recordings are like the old Sun recordings, like Johnny Cash's original stuff, and Roy Orbison did some, and so did Elvis. And those recordings have tons of little tiny mistakes in them, you know.
The character of a song.
There's character to that,
Yeah.
you know, and that's something when we do get the more serious recording stuff going, then I want to try to keep that there, you know. But we're not quite there yet. But it's. I mean, we're working as much as we can. The fact that we have day jobs and everything. But
Okay. So, what all y'all kind of got coming up? Do y'all have any shows scheduled?
thanks. Yeah.
Post June 1st.
Yeah, well, we will have a show. We're going to play. I think it's Pine Knot is putting on a thing after the Blueberry Festival. So it'll be the night of the Blueberry Festival. We're gonna play then. I think it's between 6 and 9. They're calling it the Blueberry
What day is
Jam. That's what it is. June 9th is the Blueberry Festival.
June 9th, okay.
Yeah, June 9th. So it'll be 6 to 9, June 9th at Millard's Crossing.
Okay.
It's gonna be pretty awesome. I'm very excited about it. It'll be great.
Well,
I think. Oh, sorry. There's one other one.
Yeah.
I think it's June 30th. Now this is. I'm not sure if I should say anything about it, but I think there's going to be a fairly big show that is being organized on June 30th for Lugnuts.
Okay.
There's going to be like bike vendors and stuff like that. I don't know all the I don't have all the details yet.
More
but
than just music.
yeah, there will be a ton of stuff. Like I think there's going to be live glass blowing and
Is this
different things. So
a part of the You did a show not too long ago with Casey Muse.
Star Avenue.
Yeah, with Star Avenue, and they had a big production. Is this branch off of that by chance?
Well,
When you say the glass blowing, I know there was glass blowing at the last major event.
Puffin stuff. Man.
yeah,
Puffin
Puffin stuff. That's what I was gonna say. It's Grant from Puffin Stuff is organizing it. I think is the main
All right.
guy organizing it. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Is this a fundraiser or anything? Because I know Lug Nuts is really big on fundraisers.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know actually. I'm not entirely sure what the like overarching theme is of it. I know we've been asked to play it and it's gonna happen pretty sure. So it seems worth mentioning, you know. But all I can say is, you know, for people watching is to just kind of keep an eye on it and you know, you'll see posts from us soon whenever all the details get hammered out and everything.
Awesome. Well, before I ask my final question, is there anything that y'all want to kind of say?
Yes, there was one thing real quick.
Okay.
If you are a musician in the East Texas area and you play something a bit unusual, like violin or piano, well, those aren't that unusual, but or more unusual than that, electric violin or saw or you know, something like that. Our goal is to I'm a big fan of like Frank Zappa and Roy Orbison and these guys that had these like big backing bands with a ton of instruments and like little rock orchestras. So what we're really trying to do in the long run, as far as our sound goes, is build a kind of rock orchestra. So if you're a musician in the area, please add us on Facebook and get in touch with us. And so anyway, it would be really dumb for me not to mention that. That's something we're looking for. So.
Yeah.
I, as a viewer, would be looking forward to hearing something like that. Just anybody with a good instrumental output to join y'all, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think if we could make some really cool sounds with some one or two or three more people. I think it'd be real cool.
Awesome. Well, wrapping it up into our outro, we're going to play Deep Blue by the HorrorCosmic, the great, right here with us. Thank you. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Well, where did that one come from? I wrote it quite a bit ago. I think I wrote it before we started playing together, Harry, didn't I? Didn't I already have it?
I thought you wrote like Implode, and we did it at Pine Knot, and then you wrote Deep Blue, but we didn't play it until we did it with these guys.
I know what it was. I wrote sort of there's a really old version of Deep Blue that's a little different that I had written a long time ago. But basically, a friend of mine, there's two things being invoked by. One is the computer, the Deep Blue, that was the first AI to beat a grandmaster at chess. And so it's sort of like a reference to that a little bit. Sort of a reference to the superiority of, eventually machines taking over, our robot overlords, kind of. But I thought it'd be fun to have that sort of cyberpunk theme with like an old school, like surf rock type sound, But it also has a little bit to do with a friend of mine who had dated a girl and it didn't work out, basically, and I was thinking about that and kind of threw some of those ideas during the verses and stuff. So that's basically where it's a cyberpunk romance song.
Awesome.
I dig it.
Surf rock.
Well, speaking on behalf of us all, we all look forward to hearing HorrorCosmic's EP. Unless that turns into an LP. Either way, I want to hear it. I definitely was floored at the Max show. I didn't catch the Libraries Rock show. I had to leave a little bit early that night. If you don't know about him, check out Star Avenue. Casey Muse, fabulous person. Really doing a lot for the music community.
Definitely.
Yes.
So without further ado, we're going to move straight into Deep Blue, and I thank each and every one of you for sitting down and talking with us.
Much appreciated.
And this concludes Any City Music's Double Vision with the HorrorCosmic.
Deuce, deuce.
Deuce.
Deceit, shatter on the reef of your disbelief. If
Hey everybody, hope y'all enjoyed the show.
See you next time. You're still here?